on the air. Rosemary, President DiLorenzo, we're on the air.
Good morning, and welcome to the meeting of the Third Laguna Hills Mutual, our August 20th meeting. I would like to call this meeting to order, and we do have a quorum present. Now we will have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Director Jarrett.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have the media present? No media present. Okay. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Second.
Are there any additions or corrections? Okay, I believe that there is a change in the name of the person who is going to be presenting the toll roads. Is that correct?
Yes, it's Lori Olin is going to be presenting.
Okay, so that's just a update on the agenda. Okay, so there's no change in agenda, so it's just a note, affirmation, a notation. So based on that, do we have a vote to approve the agenda with the slight correction?
Yes.
Excuse me, are we electronic today? We are.
Okay.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Shall we do them all together?
Yes.
Okay,
moved.
so move all together. Second?
Second.
Any comments on, any comments before we vote? No comments? All right, please vote. So, okay, so, all right, so there should always be 9 votes. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the report of the chair. Okay, well, I can't ask everybody or remind people to please run for the board because the posting or applying is closed. Unfortunately, we have 4 positions with only 4 candidates. And unfortunately, legislation has not yet been changed in Sacramento. So once again, we will have an election. But that means that all of the people who are running will get on the board. Doesn't mean that we're not going to go through the election and go through our entire process. Do you remember that we have 2 incumbents who we're very happy that they're going to be forced back on the board, sort of. And that is that's Steve and Cush, so we're good. We're glad to have you, and then the other 2 candidates. A reminder that we will have Meet the Candidates on Friday morning at 10 a.m., and it will be here. And we do need our residents to vote, even though it might seem a perfunctory act. Because with the votes, we need to have votes posted, otherwise it won't, a certain percentage, otherwise the election won't count. So please vote, and please get to see what the candidates who are running have to say, because they are the ones who are going to be representing you. So we have Meet the Candidates on the 29th. Is that the 29th, the 27th?
It's this Friday.
This is Friday, so that's the wrong date. It'd be coming on the weekend. So we have Meet the Candidates
23rd.
on the 23rd. Then we have, we have, it's going to be replayed both on the 27th and the 29th, but I'm sure our wonderful communication department will remind everybody. And then we will be tabulating the ballots, or counting the ballots on 9/27. And then we have our annual meeting where we review all of the accomplishments that Third has had in the past year. And then we have the people who will no longer be on the board step down. That'll be me. And, and then we'll welcome the new members, and then they'll have the voting for officers. So, so it's all very important to our community, so please participate. One other thing, though, that I would like to comment about is lots of times there are letters in the paper that we probably all subscribe to the paper just to make sure that we read the letters. And there are letters in there that make our hair stand on end. And basically, it has been our policy or philosophy that we're not going to have a match. You know, somebody's going to write a bad letter and we're going to respond and hopefully the paper will publish it. What we basically do is we respond to all of the letters that have to do with Third. Catherine Laster, who does a wonderful job, works with us to get that done. But we also, if it's a very political issue or something that is blatantly inaccurate or needs some clearing up, we ask the directors who are on this day to address it in their talking. So there's one that came up a few weeks ago, and it basically accused GRF of doing some clandestine things and about meetings that we're having that aren't legal, and it talked about selling off of the land. And we went to GRF and we said we would be happy to work with you to meet with the person who wrote the letter, because it's very important to us that they understand that everything we're doing is above board. And the person declined to meet with us. So that was, you know, just say something bad, but let's not discuss it. The thing that I do want to let our community know is that in the past probably year and a half to 2 years, and really since the takeover, we've tried to have the boards work closely together as opposed to United's doing one thing and we're doing another thing and nobody knows what the other people are doing. So we try to work closely together, and once a month we have a meeting with the presidents of the boards and the first vice presidents, and also the chair of VMS and the vice chair of VMS. And we just talk, and also we invite the towers, and we talk about things that are important to us. Oh, what do you think of the signs? The signs look really good. I think I want to get them in United. We're thinking about this. So it's really a thought process, and lots of times we just come back with a list to give to Siobhan and Jeff and say, oh, these are the things we thought about. Could you follow up on them? So before we started these meetings, which I believe are so positive, because it isn't like we're not doing anything that isn't legal. We're really trying to improve the community. We have copper line pipes. United didn't have that, but United was doing waistline. We said, gee, why are you doing something that we're not doing? Maybe we should do it too. You know, we changed our pay, you know, so there's all of that exchange. So I want to let the people know that what we're doing is for the good of the community, and there's nothing about it that shouldn't be done. And that is not open and above board. The other thing is that when we had our strategic planning meeting and also when we met with the boards, one of our concerns was we have to try to do something to improve the revenue stream into GRF. Are there any, and also to control the costs in GRF. So it can't just be raising the prices, it has to be control the cost. And we have one of our VMS board members sitting in the audience, and she says that all the time. And we have to control the costs. So we met and we talked to certainly our CEO said we have to get out of this pattern of not operating better. And because if we don't, we're just passing things along to the residents, and we can't just keep doing that because the community needs a lot of work. And we came up with 2 different committees that GRF has where we're trying to address it. Of course, those of us on Third wish that this was done in a more timely manner by GRF, because we've been ranting about it for years. But we do have a new leader who is really pushing it, and we have VMS trying to understand where we're going and working with us. So, and all sorts of ideas are coming across. So if anybody hears any ideas that we're selling this building, or I'm going to make something up, selling land, that, first of all, that cannot be done without a vote of the corporate members. So, and we don't have any intention of selling. You know, if somebody said, well, maybe we could build something there and we get some revenue, well, we'd have to evaluate it. Everything will be evaluated. There aren't going to be little wild, crazy things that are done, because the boards are talking, the boards are communicating, and we're trying to do the best thing for the community as far as service and as far as costs go. So that is my little thing that I had to talk about, but I wanted everyone to know that. So at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Becky, who is going to, from our communication department, who is going to introduce a presentation from the toll roads, because we feel that this is going to be very brief, but it's needed for the community. So it's all yours.
Good morning, President DiLorenzo and esteemed members of the board. Lori Olin serves as the Manager of Customer Service Communications for the Transportation Corridor Agencies. On Friday, September 13th, TCA will be hosting the Stick and Go event at the Performing Arts Center, providing education on the new RFID transponders and assisting residents with placing them on their vehicles. It is my pleasure to present Ms. Olin.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here this morning. So I work for the toll roads and the transportation corridor agencies, and we're going around to communities and educating people and making sure that everyone knows that we're switching to sticker transponders. So I know you're all familiar with them because you have now sticker transponders on your headlamps to get in and out of the gates. So we're also switching to this technology, and so our transponders are going from a hard case transponder to taking the form of a small sticker. So we've mailed those out to all of our existing Fast Track account holders, and now we're getting ready to send them out to all of our Express account holders. So we have about 1.5 million account holders, and I'm happy to say that 5,000 to 6,000 of them are in Laguna Woods, so we thank you for driving our roads. And so what we're also doing for the community is that we're having an event where you can come out, and if you haven't already put your sticker transponder on your vehicle, but you've received them and you need help, or you have any questions, you can come out to this event that we're putting on September 13th at 9 in the morning. And there's information in the brochure that's at various clubhouses and throughout the community, and will be in advertisements throughout the community. And you can come out and we'll go ahead and we'll put that sticker on for you. So if you want that help, or if you have any other questions about your account or sticker transponders, you can come out and we'll answer those questions as well. I heard that there will also be refreshments, so even if you just want to come out for a refreshment, come on by. And if you...
I have a question. I do have two questions.
Okay.
As I am a customer.
Thank you.
What if you didn't get it in the mail?
If you didn't get it in the mail, then I encourage you can call our customer call center, or you can go to our website, thetollroads.com/sticker, and we can look into your account. If you have an Express account, then you wouldn't have received your sticker transponder yet. But if you have a Fast Track account and you haven't received your sticker transponder, then you should get in touch with us via our call center or our website, and we'll go ahead and assist you and see what's going on.
Because, and I imagine this happened to more than just me, but I received a letter saying they were coming,
Okay.
and nothing ever came.
Yeah, we
So-
definitely want to look into that for you.
Okay, all right. And so then the other thing is does, when you get them, or however you get them, what do people do with the old ones?
So you can go ahead and dispose of those like you would
Oh,
hazardous household waste. If you drive on the express lanes in LA that have the 10 and 110 and you get carpool discounts depending on the occupancy in your vehicle, then you can go ahead and keep your switchable transponder so that you can indicate how many people are in your car. You can also have your switchable and your sticker mounted at the same time. And on those sort of roads, the express lanes, it's going to default and read your hard case transponder as opposed to your sticker transponder so that you still can go ahead and enjoy that discount for carpooling.
Okay, well, so this is the type of information that will be made available on Friday, September 13th at 9 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay, and where is that again?
It's
Where-
going to be at the Performing Arts Center.
Okay. And
From
for
9
those
to 11.
residents who don't know that, the Performing Arts Center is Clubhouse 3. Some people still use the term Clubhouse 3, so we wouldn't want them to be looking for the wrong place. So Clubhouse 3, okay, or the Performing Arts Center. Okay, those are my questions. Yes, John? Yes, Roy?
Yeah, you can turn. Lori, I'm in the same boat. I got the letter, but haven't seen anything else. I don't have a transponder. I don't have a sticker. What happens is I go underneath the camera and it automatically charges my credit card. Now, why is the sticker more efficient than the process you've already got in place?
Okay, so you have an express account with us, so it's good on the toll roads only. So that's State Route 73, 133, 241, 261. So before October 2nd, you should be receiving sticker transponders because you have an express account. And we're going to rename your account Fast Track. So you will have a Fast Track account, you will be issued transponders, and the good thing is you'll be able to use those all throughout the state of California now.
Oh,
So your account, you can drive the Golden Gate Bridge, the 10, 110 in LA, the toll roads, there's some toll roads down in San Diego. And so now you can use your account throughout the state of California, and we're moving toward a point when you can use it outside of California as well. So we're moving toward national interoperability.
So
Thank you,
is
thank
that
you.
sticker going to be the same as the sticker for those of us who have the transponder now?
Yes.
So it's going to be like the same, okay.
Yes, so all of our accounts will be Fast Track accounts, but your method of payment will remain the same. So you will continue to be charged on a daily basis whenever you use the roads.
Thank you.
And there will be no account maintenance fees. And also, one thing that is a little strange to people is the stickers don't beep, and people are used to hearing that beep if they have a hard case transponder. So we just like to warn people, you're not going to hear the beep.
And those letters to those people who don't have the transponders will be out they should get them by October 2nd?
Right, they should start receiving them actually any day now. And then they'll get their actual transponders. They'll start being mailed out on September 2nd, and people will get them in the weeks to come.
Okay, so Reza had a question, no, John had a question, and then Reza, and then Kush. Hi.
And my question's kind of the opposite, which is my account is from Northern California. Is this statewide? I have seen no letter, no updates. Will it be applicable for Northern California transponder? I'd like to get converted to this, but don't know the process.
It will eventually. So as of January 19th, where all tolling agencies throughout the state of California are supposed to be moving toward using this new technology. And so we're actually the first in the state to be issuing the sticker transponders and moving toward the technology, but eventually all tolling agencies in California will be.
Okay. Reza?
I have the transponder, but I'm paying $2 a month. That's going to stop now?
That
Or-
stopped on July 1st. We have no account maintenance fees.
So that already stopped?
Yes.
So there's no charges?
When is the cutoff date to change over from your transponder to the sticker?
You can continue to use your hard case transponder actually until about 2024. We're trying, because we are the first in the state, we're moving forward with this before everyone else. But we will be phasing out the technology that's in that hard case transponder in the years to come, and we'll definitely be sending out notices and educating people about that.
Because I'm about to change my car, my lease is coming to an end, so I don't want to put it in my old car and then have to worry about how to put a new sticker on the new car.
So you have some time. If I were you, I would probably wait and then put that sticker transponder on the new car when your lease is up.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, so look, you got so many questions just from 8 of us, so you can imagine what it's going to be like on Friday. So this is just to remind everyone, And I would assume that our communications department is going to remind everyone again about the 13th of September. All right, thank you very much for coming. You did a great job. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we are up to the best part of our meeting, which is the open forum. At this point, we we call for our members to please give your name to Cheryl so she can call you up. And this is to come and to speak regarding any items that are not on the agenda. You are given 3 minutes to speak, and we do ask and require that you do not in any way name any people, any board members, staff members, et cetera, in your discussion. And we can always, if you have something that you really want to go over, we always get your name and information and talk to you on the side. So, at this point, Cheryl?
Our first speaker is Doug Gibson.
Good morning, Doug. It's lovely to see you.
Oh, nice to see you. Good morning. Doug Gibson, 5289. I really appreciate, and I want to start off with I was saying that the people that are on the boards here, I think a lot of us really don't understand the amount of time and effort you put in, but I really appreciate it, and we're very glad to have the new kids jump in with both feet and do some stuff, and that's great. I've been watching the landscaping situation, and I've attended ours quite frequently in third, but I also gone to the GRF third mutual meeting. GRF Landscaping Committee meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me. The landscaping has really made a right turn and is heading in the right direction, uphill instead of downhill, in my estimation. We've lived here for 12 years. I've been involved a little bit, but right now I think things are really going in the right direction. In the GRF Landscaping Committee meeting, there was a discussion in the minutes from the prior before that they had a discussion on the fact of eliminating their committee, GRF Landscaping Committee, or reducing the monthly meetings to something else. I, of course, saw that, made a comment. As I went back to go over the minutes a little bit closer, at that time I found out that the GRF Landscaping Committee had made a decision to now do their quarterly meetings, I guess, or third. And the meeting here was on August 14th. Their next meeting is November 13th. Now, GRF is control of the most common areas in this area, and if landscaping is so important to us, why are the landscaping committees thinking of, or in this instance, thinking of retiring a little bit earlier?
Excuse me, I have to pay a fine.
Oh.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, do I? Okay.
All right, go ahead.
No, that's all right. As I understand it, the GRF boards are basically a result of the input of United and the Third Mutual situation. So what I'm asking you is to please look into why this particular committee, I tried to make a statement, I didn't get a response, but I think this is something that really needs some adjusting. I have to pay a fee, I'll do it from the standpoint of I'll put a quarter in because I think Kurt Wegman's doing a great job. Second thing, if I may.
You only have 18 seconds left.
The budget situation here in the village, in my older life or your earlier life and everything else, there was monies available through grants, acquisitions, all kinds of different things. And my question is basically, do we have people in the village on the professional staff or people that bring their expertise that are actively seeking monies on the outside from grants or anything else? Because they'll pay for the location. I don't and haven't seen reports along these lines, but if we've got some active people looking for monies, maybe some of this budget situation would right itself in a certain way. So thank you for your extra
Thank
5
you,
minutes. I'll
and-
pay the fine if necessary.
All right, and thank you. And please remember that we do not get back to you as you come up, but after everyone comes up, we do that. So next, Cheryl?
Our next speaker is Craig Wayne.
Good morning.
Good
I do
morning.
have handouts again.
Okay,
Are you going to count that as part of my time?
well, it depends. No,
Cush was hiding in Canada when I came to the maintenance meeting. And so the nice lady who was taking Cush's part that day told me that I should be coming to this meeting first. So the issue is the replacement of 2 concrete slabs which have been cracked tree roots. Now, I do have names to use here, but none of them are for derogatory purposes. They're for purposes of edification.
have my mic on. You're bringing this to our attention, and that's what you're supposed to do. So after this meeting, after you say everything that you want to say without naming names, we will get back to you here and also after the meeting.
Okay, great.
All right?
Okay.
Is there anything else? You still have 2 minutes and 31 seconds.
I have more than that because you were talking for 5 seconds.
Doesn't work that way.
Doesn't, no. Oh, she stopped the clock. What good job.
Thank you, Cheryl. This was originally reported, and a work order to replace them was done in October 2017. By March 2018, nothing was done. I went to the 3rd board meeting on March 21st, 2018, and people there then had someone get back to me regarding the matter, and they said that they found the ticket from October of, it wasn't that bad. She had me call someone in somebody else's office. She told me it would be done, just waiting for money for the concrete. In the interim, a crew came out and cut the tree roots. On June 4th, 2018, at 3:30, I met with an individual in management regarding this matter. He pulled out a sheet of paper and said, "I see it here, and it will be done this year." It was not. That was last year. After the year was out, I contacted paving and met with a foreman. He agreed to replace part of it. So, based on the fact that you then had the manager send out 2 of his people to check on it on July 10th, and those 2 people told me, they asked me, "Are you going to be home this afternoon? Because we're going to have somebody call you, because we're going to go over to the office and say this is supposed to be done." End of story. You can applaud, it's okay. No.
Yes, our next speaker is Harriet and Tammy.
I think my daughter's going to do the speaking for us.
Good morning. I don't have any dates. I don't have any notes with me. They've disappeared. The building 2286B had a main sewer line blowout. Feces, urine, and black water ended up in my mom's manor twice through the shower and the toilets. 2286B, and I think it was
okay.
a couple years ago. Basically, why I'm here is because the water stoppers to the toilets were replaced. I had to jump through all kinds of hoops to be able to get the manor fixed and to get the pipes fixed. And my mom got charged for the stoppers because she's in a condo and not a co-op. We weren't replacing stoppers, but we had to because of this disgusting blowout. So I have pictures here when when the village finally came out to replace all of the pipes underneath the building. They were crushed, they were filled with feces. She was blamed a number of times for putting something in the toilet, which she didn't do, but her manner is the lowest in the building. She's 88 years old. I travel for a living. She used every single one of her towels to sop up the first mess. I still haven't been able to get replacement on the towels because I don't have the receipts for the towels. So basically what I'm saying while I'm shaking is they did come out and fix it, but it took a long time to fix it. And twice all of this came into her unit. So my mom got something in the mail that said, pay this and pay it now, and you've got all these fees for these water stoppers. She pays things when they show up. I told her not to because it wasn't her fault. It was the crushed pipes. But she got some kind of letter recently and she paid it. So I'm asking you as a board to do some kind of research into this because I'm sorry, I do not have the dates or the receipts or anything. She's thrown them away to that water stoppage on the toilets. It was $144.69 that she just recently paid August 5th, and this is from about 2 years ago. If you want to see any of the pictures of the broken pipes that came out of the building with all the feces in it, I've got them. I know this happens in this community, but the fact that she had to pay for something that wasn't her fault, even though she's in a condo, is why we're here. Thank you very much for looking into this. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we want the money back for that, since I have 24 more seconds. And we would just like to be refunded the $144.69 or whatever she just paid. Because it wasn't her fault, because it wasn't her poop.
Okay, so as I said, we don't answer each
Oh, I know,
individual
but
that
I
they come
forgot
up.
to say that.
But don't you worry, we will take care of it. I'm sure, because something like this is very embarrassing to the board. But, you know, I just found out today that I owe the board $18, and I've owed them supposedly $18 for 2 years. So I hope I'm not being charged interest on it, because then it's probably $518. So there are quite a number of, our treasurer is giving me the evil eye. I'm getting scared. No, you don't have to show us that. And the thing is we on the board are very embarrassed. We're trying to work, so we'll answer this one next or later. Okay. No others. Okay, so now we can answer them. All right, to answer yours. We are trying very hard to improve the plumbing here, and a great amount of the money that we're spending in our reserves has to do with waistline remediation and copper pipe lining, because we know that was something that was really neglected. When this board, and a number of us have been on the board for, this is the end of my 6th year, but some of us, we have worked diligently on getting and taking care of dry rot, which was totally neglected. And here the buildings were getting more dry rotted every day. And the pipes are our focus, and trying to not have people have problems like this. So we will definitely get the information. We have your Manor number, and I'm sure John will take care of this, because it's embarrassing for us when there's a problem, and then we'll charge the resident for it. And we have done that. There's, we make a mistake, and the person has to come back out, and then we're being charged for it. So we will take care of that. So.
Who do I get to talk to when it's done? John? Hi, John. Thank you.
He's in charge of our money, sort of. All right, so then I'm going to answer Doug. Doug, we're a little bit surprised ourselves that GRF, first of all, didn't have landscape meetings forever, and now they're doing it quarterly. Because we were a little bit surprised that when we saw the agenda, one of the items for the future was GRF and the landscape at the gates. Because we would have thought that would have been something that would have been planned as the gates were being done. So we're a little bit concerned. about all of the public areas and the things that have to be done. I mean, as you notice on Third, that's our only meeting except for the board and finance that meets monthly, because we know that there are a lot of concerns. So we could address our concerns to our CEO and say, we need to, what can we do to step this up? But last year, I believe that they had thought that they were going to not have a landscape committee at all, and we were shocked, because there's a lot of landscape in GRF. So we'll try to work on that, and I'm sure that Jeff heard your remarks. We try not to have a lot of meetings, so we've gone to every other month in a lot of areas, so we'll see what we can do. And thank you for your positive comments about the way the department is running. And Lynn is doing an outstanding job for Third, working with our staff, so good job. Well, Kurt is really trying hard. All right, so as far as grants go, I think that Jeff, you could probably answer that better than I. I know that GRF has some type of group that they're working with where they're trying to get donations for things in the clubhouse, but I don't even remember, for the clubhouses, I don't even remember the name of it or what goes on with that. Do you have any, Jeff, could you address both of those?
Couple things I'd like to address to Mr. Gibson. I think one of the realities is that both United and Third have really the bulk of the landscaping. As much as GRF has areas that are important, I think when the board looked at it and knowing where we were progressing in the area of landscaping, they felt that they could go more to a quarterly report than having to have meetings every month or every other month. So that's kind of the transition they went on that. With regards to the staffing, looking at outside grants, I can tell you that we don't have an individual grant writer on staff at this point in time, but we do have a number of people within our departments or various departments who have experience not only here at the village but outside of the village in acquiring or looking for grants. And I would say that we've been pretty successful lately with Edison and getting some grants with regards to the EV charging facilities. But we're continuing to look at that in all kinds of areas. Kurt's getting a grant through the El Toro Water District with regards to landscaping. So eyes are on the prize out there because it does meet what our goal is to be. If we can get additional revenue coming in from other sources to accomplish what we want to do, the more the better. So we'll continue to do that. And I just wanted to mention on the other two manners that were brought up and or units that were brought up, we will, from the staff point of view, we will look at both of those and report back and work directly with the individuals.
Right, I mean, as far as the concrete and the trees, that just seems like a mess.
We'll find out.
So,
we have staff researching it already. So
okay, and on the other one, I'm sure we will take care of also. So, on that point, we have completed the open forum and we have completed the responses to our residents. So at this time, then, we would go over to the CEO report.
thank you, Madam President, and to the board. Quickly, I had just a few that in your comments from the chair, you've mentioned some of them that I just wanted to reinforce. The GRF Committee on Revenue and Shared Costs have had their preliminary first meeting. And that's moving forward. The importance there is to evaluate whether the shared cost system is set up the way the village intended it to be, and or is it working? And so they've kind of narrowed it down into like 3 models that they've are looking at. And I appreciate the board members that are participating on that. On the revenue, again, probably the most important thing there is looking at outside grants and opportunities to see additional revenue coming into the village, or secondly, looking at potential use of our current facilities, our cable television, our land use, to see if we can create long-term revenue from that perspective. I'm not looking at selling property, but the question is, could we better utilize property to create long-term revenue for the community? On the second note, as that relates to long-term planning, I just wanted to reiterate, as indicated, you've gone through a number of different meetings and televised, non-televised, and I again want to thank the board for all their work on the budget. The budget will be part of your final budget presentation will be part of your September 17th board meeting, in which we'll bring back the final resolution on the budget on that document. So I wanted to mention that. One of the two areas I wanted to mention that staff's been working on that are really critical to us moving forward is in the area of I'll say resident services, but it doesn't stop there. Resident services are tickets, how we are increasing and how we want to increase our communication with our residents out there and how we can do that more effectively. So we've been meeting kind of one-on-ones with all the different departments who are impacted by that process so that we can kind of educate ourselves as to how we can do it more efficiently. Next week, I'm going to have an all-hands-on meeting with my various departments, and we're going to brainstorm about some areas that we think we can make some improvements. And hopefully that's going to be both improvements in the sense of customer service and may eventually lead to some effectiveness and reduced costs. So hopefully we'll get a combination of it. So we're been talking about that, big powwow next week with my staff on that. And then finally, just to put on your calendar, I know you probably heard about it, but we had our first strategic plan meeting. Now we're set for our second one, which is going to be November 20th at Clubhouse 2. Don't have a time set, but it'll probably start on the 8th. 8 o'clock in the morning probably will be our time set, but we do have the 20th set for Clubhouse 2 for our 6-month, that was our 6-month evaluation on where we were with the strategic plan and update on that. So that's all I have, and I'm going to turn it over to Siobhan. She has a few more items she wants.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Good morning, Honorable President, members of the board. I'd like to start out with some good news. Gate 4 reopened yesterday. That completed that phase of the radio frequency identification retrofit project. And with that focus done, we are now shifting our focus to Gate 11. And the security department supports gate access system at Gate 11, feeling that gate arms, cameras, license plate, reader technology would greatly enhance security in that part of the community and bring our whole village to the same level of security. So to that end, a staff report will be presented at the GRF Security and Community Access Committee and then presented to other committees and onto the board for approval and funding. The next SCAC committee meeting is Monday, August 16th at 1:30 p.m. in the boardroom. So again, if you're interested, August 26th, I apologize. Let's try that again. August 26th at 1:30 in the boardroom if you're interested in discussing Gate 11 security access.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much for that, Siobhan, because there was always a lot, and we asked you to do that because there's always controversy about that, like, were they going to do one gate between both gate, one, and how would that work? And then, because, so I know that Gate 14 and Gate 11 were sort of at the end of the list, so we asked Siobhan and Jeff to please update the community on that because we don't want Gate 11 to feel that we weren't totally involved in their security and caring about what was happening there. So Doug, you could bring that back to the gate. Is that your alarm going on? All right. So Siobhan, do you have anything else?
Yes, I do. I wanted to draw attention to some phone scams that we've been experiencing in the village, particularly as it relates to the Social Security Administration. Complaints about government imposter scams, that's what they're called, particularly Social Security phone scams are skyrocketing, especially in recent months. And according to the Federal Trade Commission, in a few of the lies government imposters tell, the goal is to steal money and/or personal information from those who are receiving the telephone calls. Some of the examples include, we are calling from the Social Security Administration because your account has been frozen or compromised. This is the IRS calling and you owe us back taxes and are about to be sued or immediately arrested. We want to caution you this morning that government agencies, including the Social Security Administration, IRS, and Medicare, do not make first contact over the telephone. If there is a problem with your account, they will reach out to you by U.S. mail. So not by telephone, but by U.S. mail. Likewise, agencies never call and threaten you with a lawsuit or arrest if you don't make an immediate payment. Also, government agencies will never instruct you to make an immediate payment via wire transfer or gift card. So if you get any of these phone calls, the best thing to do is to hang up immediately. There is a fraud awareness seminar at City Hall this Thursday, August 22nd, from 9 to 10:30 a.m. at City of Laguna Woods City Hall. And here you can learn how to protect yourself and your loved ones from being the next victim. The workshop will highlight the latest scams and fraud schemes. To RSVP for this, please contact the city at 949-639-0500. And again, that's this Thursday at 9 a.m. at City Hall. There is also going to be a Scam Stopper event here in the Village on Thursday, September 19th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Performing Arts Center or Clubhouse 3. California Assemblywoman Cody Petrie Norris, the representative of the 74th District, will hold this seminar, and it features such topics as identity theft, auto repair, construction, Medicare, foreign lotteries, and mail fraud. So again, that's September 19th at 10 a.m. at the Performing Arts Center. And I also wanted to draw your attention to an upcoming event that's going to occur in September, and this is the Village Earthquake Expo. Again, the Village Earthquake Expo, which will be held on Saturday, September 14th at 9 a.m. at the Performing Arts Center. Here you can experience the 8.0 Quake Cottage and actually get in a device that simulates an 8.0 earthquake, learn about the Orange County's earthquake hazards, view the Northwood Ridge earthquake documentary, Quake Heroes, and check out vendor information and earthquake safety items. And again, that's Saturday, September 14th from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Performing Arts Center. So that concludes my presentation this morning.
Thank you very much, Siobhan. And thank you for doing such a good job for all of us. When in doubt, contact Siobhan and Jeff. But I always contact Siobhan. Her name comes up right away. Okay, so at this point, we are at number 10 on our agenda. But before we do that, in the past, we always used to have a VMS report. But then we said, well, we're not going to have a VMS report by our VMS board members, but our CEO and COO should be reporting on VMS, which is our management company. But at this point, I would like to thank our VMS board members who work so hard for us. So thank you. Thank you, all three of you out there. All right, so now let's do the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Just on the consent calendar, we only put things that we are approving. In the past, they would put things that we were denying on the consent calendar, which was getting very confusing. So we have a motion to approve the consent calendar. Do we have a second? Second? Okay. Any discussion? All right, so now you can vote electronically.
Consent calendar. You need to vote.
Okay, one of our directors had to leave for a doctor's appointment, so we have 8 directors here, so yes, it is unanimous. All right, so now we'll do unfinished business. Roy, am I going to turn that over to you?
I hope so.
Okay, good.
I spent 2 hours last night doing summaries.
Okay.
Buckle your seats, folks. We have 11 resolutions to approve, to adopt. The first one, 11A, is a resolution to revise the appeal process. All of these resolutions have already been on 28-day review, so we're doing final votes this morning. This particular revision to the appeal policy aligns current appeal policy with Civil Code 4765, which basically says that board decisions are final. We need to break the recycle process here. Streamlines the appeal process and now includes landscape variance requests, lease authorizations, and care provider authorizations, as well as architecture variance requests. And finally, the committee decisions are appealable until the board makes the final decision, either in open or closed section. I move we adopt this resolution.
Second.
Okay, so it's moved and seconded. So now we're waiting to vote.
We do have a request to speak from the audience.
Regarding this motion,
Yes.
okay? So so therefore, we had a motion, a second. I'm sorry. Thank you, Steve. We have a motion, it was seconded. There's no discussion by any board members on this, but we do have discussion from a resident, so.
I call up Lynn Corbose.
It's Lynn Corbo, Z is silent. I'm Lynn Corbo, this is for 3250O. I understand that after today, it's likely no appeals of landscape committee decisions will be possible. To date, I have not been able to formally present my case to the committee due to an incorrect mailing address and now a pending lawsuit. I want assurance that I will be able to appeal the denial of my non-standard request at the next meeting of the committee, or understand why my case and solution of the problem should be indefinitely delayed. I have other things to say about 11K, which is my case. So I guess I should hold off until then. Okay. At any rate, that's what I
Thank you. Okay, does anyone want to, yes, Steve?
Well, on this, the appeal would not come before the committee. It would still come before the board. And that's a practice we've been doing for some time. And that's what our legal counsel has mentioned also. So that's where it would be handled, and it can be set up through the compliance department to come before the board in closed session.
So basically, it is not correct that we do not allow appeals. The process is just different. So if you have something and it is denied, you have the opportunity to appeal it. So we did not remove the opportunity to appeal a decision. The thing is that there was some confusion, and so they would be going back to the committee, then they would go, we just wanted to follow the law and follow a procedure. So we do allow the appeal, it just has to follow the procedure. So thank you for your comments, and you gave us the opportunity to clarify it once again for the community. So we can now vote on it, that we understand that we are not removing that and we know what the procedure is, okay? And thank you, Steve.
Director Bada, you want to just give me your vote and I'll record it?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Is it yes?
Okay, so we have finished with A, unanimous.
Okay, excuse me, Madam President. 11B, adopt a resolution to revise the move-in and move-out policy. We changed the move-in and move-out times. That's the only change we made to the policy. The new times are that moving may commence from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., but it must be done by 8 p.m. The old hours were 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., must be completed by 10 p.m. This was approved by the Resident Policy and Compliance Task Force on June 12th, 2019. I move that we adopt this resolution.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Okay, discussion? Do we have any speakers on this?
No, not on this item.
Okay, so we'll commence voting. Okay, so of those who are here, it's unanimous. Okay, item C.
11C, adopt a resolution to revise the exterior paint color palette. This is to be implemented during the 2020 paint program cycle. There are different color options for 1, 2, and 3-story buildings. Colors reflect an updated classic and timeless design with a touch of current trends. And this was approved by the M&C Committee on July 1st, 2019. And if you haven't seen the palette, it's out there on the wall as you head out towards the back exit of this building. I move we adopt this resolution.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, discussion. Do we have a speaker at all? Okay, let's commence voting. Okay, who hasn't voted yet? Oh, Lynn,
I'm sorry.
you haven't voted
You
yet.
need to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was speaking.
Okay, it's unanimous. Going to item D.
11D, adopt a resolution to revise alteration standard 38 patio enclosure. Main points, an enclosure can be installed only on the manor's original footprint. Neither existing HVA systems nor new HVA systems are permitted to condition the patio enclosure. No wood framing is permitted, and this was approved by the Architecture Committee on June 24th, 2019. I move we adopt this resolution.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Do you have any speakers on this? Cheryl, do we have any speakers?
Yes, we do have one speaker on 11D, which
Okay.
is Len Corbeau again.
Was that on D or K that you wanted, Lynn?
E. E is an Edward.
Oh, okay, okay. So she's not speaking to D, so we have no other speakers. Okay, we'll commence voting. Okay, it's unanimous. On to item C, or E, Echo.
12E Echo, adopt a resolution to revise alteration standard 22, patio and balcony covers, aluminum and vinyl. Main points, wood is strictly prohibited from any part of the construction. Patio covers will span only the patio area as defined by the original patio slab. Only covers with State of California approved engineering specs will be accepted. Approved by the Architecture Committee on June 24th, 2019. I move we adopt this resolution.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, discussion at the board? Okay, speakers?
Len Corbeau.
Okay, Lynn?
This is for 3505C. Lynn Corbeau is the name. This is about my request for patio standards exceptions for the Casa Rosa, the Navarro, and Villa Francesca, because these are models that have half sliding glass door common areas. Thank you for your consideration of my request. I am very disappointed with the explanations as to why this request was denied. I was advised that members believe the patio is quote-unquote functional, so long as there is a concrete landing for the halves of the doors that open. I would like you to please listen to the list of functions that you are denying to the owners of these 3 models with the original patio, probably about 100 of us remaining that were not extended before 2017. These are functions that are currently available to all the other thousands of single-story condo unit owners in Third Mutual. Available to them now. Not available to the 100 of us that remain. Because these patios end in the middle of the sliding glass doors on either side of the patio, we cannot erect covers or awnings to control the sunlight glare, protect furnishings from fadings, use the patio during inclement weather. We cannot erect walls and screen in the space or glass in the space. We can't keep out rodents and birds to control droppings. We can't keep insects out. We can't keep passersby from looking into our bedroom windows. We can't safely access utility panels on exterior walls in blackouts and rainy weather. We can't keep other people from tampering with our electrical panels that are on the outside. There is nothing in the civil code that prevents this board from making these exceptions for these 3 models with such an ill-conceived design. I would like to know why you are perpetuating this undeniable unfairness. Can you please tell us what your reasons are for doing so?
No more speakers? Okay. Can we take it to the trial then?
Okay, so we have a very serious comments that were made by a resident. It's unfortunate, though, that when we go over something and we have 28 days for the members to make comments so that we might address it before the meeting, that it isn't done until the day that it would be voted on, because perhaps we could have had an opportunity to relook at it or revise it or say, well, this makes a lot of sense, or et cetera. So it's really unfortunate that that's the approach. But all that aside, Steve, as you run this committee, would you like to address it?
Yeah. I went out to Lynn's residence, and we looked at some of those around there. And I actually agree with her on several of her points. That, to me, does not preclude this pertaining to everybody else, though. But I think we need to look at an exception for those 3 models on these areas.
So then, would you like to revise this motion to table it to our next meeting, which gives you more time to review it? Is that what you're
We could, or we could just go ahead with the exception of these 3 and bring that back later.
I think that if we were to, I don't know if there's enough information for the board to say, okay, let's just do this without some more information. That would just be a thought that I have, and I'm getting a nod. So I think that we should table this vote to our next meeting so that we have the opportunity to review all of the things that have been brought to our attention, especially as also partially agreed upon by our committee chair.
I second that.
You second that. Okay. So all those in favor, voting on the motion to table this to our next meeting? Oh, we're not using electric now? Oh, my goodness gracious. It's like, God, they're all so shocked. All right, so Cheryl is laughing at us. So, okay, so we have that? So now do we have to go back and vote on the original motion? Yes. So let's do yes. This is the motion to,
Well, we can defeat the motion to adopt, and then we can make a motion to table, is the way it should happen.
okay, so we're going to say no on the motion to adopt,
Correct.
and then we're going to is that what we're doing, Cheryl?
This is the motion to table the item that you're voting
Doesn't
on.
say it on,
We didn't vote, excuse me, we did not vote to adopt.
Right, we did.
We had a first and a second, and then we had discussion. So you have to kill that one, and then you have to
Move it to table.
move to table. Okay?
Fix it.
Is that all right?
So fix it.
Cheryl, fix it.
No.
Oh, no, we have to, yeah, we have to vote
So we
no.
are voting no to adopt? All those in favor, so could we do that electronically, Cheryl, or are we going to drive you over the edge?
No, it's working, except for Rosemary, you need to vote no.
My name is, oh, I voted yes?
Yeah,
I think we still change it.
no, this is not hard, guys. Just push the no button.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, we got it. We were going to run up with a pen and color it in. I mean, that would be easier. Okay,
Okay.
so we voted no. And now
Right.
we have a new motion
Yes.
made by Steve, seconded by Kush,
To
to
table.
table to our, not just table indefinitely, table to our next board meeting,
Correct.
which means that you have to do the appropriate research and information. Okay, so now are we voting on, so we have a first and a second. Can we vote on that now so we can move on?
I think a comment on it before, it doesn't get in the way of the vote. I just wanted to ask Ms. Corbeau or anybody's staff, if we can get more resident involvement from these particular units to be sure that there's a real need. My concern is if we slice off 3 types of units, somebody shows up later saying, wait, my unit might apply for a
Right.
different reason, and you get a hornet's nest. So it'd be nice to see that if there's 100 individuals, it'd be nice to know there's more than one that sees this as a need.
Very good point, John, thank you.
Yeah, one
Maybe
other comment.
next, yes?
One other comment too is, these are similar design, I believe, aren't they? Yeah, and we have some problems that weren't foreseen in the past with potential safety and health issues that we need to take care of before we go forward with these, because
All right,
it
so-
is significant.
So if next month, when you come to the meeting, you vote to delay it for another month because you need to do more research, then that's okay. We just want to do it correctly. Okay, so now we're up to the next one.
Which is.
Did we vote, we all voted on that, it has 7 votes, okay, good.
7.
All right.
Okay. All right, 12F, 12F. Approve the Garden Villa and LH21 laundry room rules. Main points include, these rules include hours of operations and guidelines for use of the laundry rooms and for the use of the washers and dryers. This was approved by the Garden Villa Association on June 27th, 2019. I move we approve these rules.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do you have a laundry room?
Laundry room,
I do a discussion. I can call them first.
and you have to turn
Yes,
your
John.
microphone on.
I was asked by a resident to get some information on why we decided upon 10 PM as a time that things have to be completed by with people that work, and sometimes things might run later. And I know that could have been noted earlier, but I think they just wanted to hear some detail of how we came up with 10 PM.
You want to talk
Well-
about speak to that?
Go right ahead.
Okay.
This is our time for discussion.
The reason is because a lot of people, including myself, live next door to the laundry rooms. Our walls adjacent, living room wall is adjacent, living room and second bedroom wall is adjacent to the laundry room. So you can hear the washer and especially the new dryer. You can hear. So a lot of people like to go to bed at, so 10 o'clock was the cutoff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President.
Yes, Roy?
I believe there's a town ordinance, Sherry, you can verify this, that quiet times are from 10 to 7.
Yeah, but I mean, that has to do with screaming and dancing in the streets.
Sometimes those.
I mean, we have to just be really careful. We had one time, a long time ago, somebody coming in and saying that you shouldn't use your ice maker after 9 o'clock. and you shouldn't use your garage door after 9 o'clock. I mean, we could push this, you could push it over the top. We are still alive and well and living in Laguna Woods. So we have to be careful with that. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak before we,
Yes.
Cheryl?
So I'll call up Conrad Hack.
Stewart. No, it's close. I want to hear from Conrad.
Conrad.
I want to hear from
Sorry.
Conrad.
Maybe he's using another name
I actually would have
today.
made him.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the reason, yeah. So the reason for the 10 o'clock is there are 2 units that are on each side of the laundry room, and they hear the noise. So those are the people who have contacted me as president of the Gardenville Association and said, we got to stop this. You've got to stop people using the laundry rooms after 10 o'clock.
Okay, our next speaker is Raquel Unger.
Cal is speaking as a resident, not as a VMS board member.
Please make that clear. Okay, first of all, I think 10 o'clock is late. We used to have 8 o'clock in our building, and there's a man, and I mean, he's deaf, so I know when he goes out on Tuesday nights, and I can do my wash forever. However, my question is, why can't we wash our sneakers in the washing machine? Well, there could be certain times for that too. I mean, it's too loud. What would you like to?
That's not part of this resolution. That's another one you should bring up with the president of Gardenville Association.
I thought it was. Oh, it is? It is in there. It is.
Oh.
And I'll give the reason if you like.
Okay, all right, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. We don't usually have a debate here, but today, I guess today will be flexible. If people wash their sneakers and they put a towel in it, it doesn't make as much noise. So maybe you should have sneaker rules.
We should probably have special sneaker, but also it does damage to the machine. It's we said don't put in heavy big not towels, rugs.
Comforters,
Yeah.
duvets,
Yeah,
rugs.
and because there have been complaints about it. It's loud, but more importantly, the machines can't handle it.
So then what people should do is they should take their sneakers to the freestanding laundry rooms where nobody lives there. They should drive their car.
We just moved to the co-ops.
No, let's,
Especially a freestanding.
no, we have freestanding. Yes, Reza, and after this, we have to move on. Yes?
Okay.
We could come to your house because you live in a great gate 11. We could wash our sneakers there.
Yeah, of course they can, but after we figure out that the laundry room, there are 2 ways to do it. First, we can keep restricting the time that people can do things, or we can look at the laundry room, if we can secure the laundry room with the being noise-proof, or put some sort of, walls or something that prevent the noise from getting into the, because next one is elevator. I live next to the elevator. Nobody can leave elevator after 10 o'clock where are we going to stop with this kind of
And
restriction on people?
Even worse than that is if somebody's going on vacation and they roll their luggage past your window, so you can't go on. You're right. I agree with you.
suggest we fix the laundry room rather than.
I can agree with you, but, all right, so we have a motion. We have a lot of very interesting comments, and it is now, Steve ran away. So we now have the opportunity to vote on this. Okay, we have 6 yeses and 1 no, so it passes. All right, next.
Next is 12G. We need to approve Garden Villa Recreation Room.
11G.
11G, sorry about that. 11G. Approved Garden Villa Recreation Room rules. These rules cover the use and maintenance of all Garden Villa recreation rooms. Currently, each building has its own rules. Again, this was approved by the Garden Villa Association on June 27th. I move that we approve these Garden Villa Recreation Room rules.
I second it.
Is there any discussion on the part of the board? Is there any discussion on the part of our members? Okay.
Yes, it was Stuart Hack again.
What's his name? Conrad.
Conrad.
Okay, go ahead, Conrad.
Yeah. So, feel like I'm in Soviet Union, comrade.
We really are.
So the reason primarily for this is that we've had various rules promulgated by the Garden Villa Association, and each building can set up their own rules regarding their rec room, but none of those rules are enforceable because they're not third mutual rules. So if we have things going on that we need to have stopped right away, we can call security, but they can't do anything about it.
Okay. Okay, so, excuse me, we have a board member who has a comment.
It was more of a question, and that is, there's something in the resolution that indicates exercise equipment or to some extent doing exercise in a rec room is no longer going to be permitted. Just want to get qualification on that in terms of, is the exterior patio of the rec room part of the rec room, or is it because there are people who do exercise out on that?
Yeah, no, we were only talking about
The interior.
The interior, it's not part of the rec room. And the reason for not having the exercise equipment is both it takes up room in the rec room, but also there's a liability risk of having that kind of equipment in the rec room.
Okay.
But I have a question. If somebody wants to bring in their Zumba tape and invite all of the residents in the building to come and dance, is that against the rules?
Nope, not against the rules
So
at
they
all.
can exercise in the room, they can't just put a trampoline in there?
Right. Or other types of
Other type.
exercise
I just thought I'd start
equipment.
small.
And more importantly, they can't move their exercise equipment from their unit into the rec room that everybody else has to put up with.
Right, because then they're using their rec room as a storage room.
Yep.
And that, okay. All right, so are there any other resident comments?
Yes, Raquel Unger.
Aren't you thrilled you wanted to be at the meeting? Anyway, my question is, can you verify what else is going to happen? Because all these rules, we've got rules now about can't wash your sneakers, you got to do a wash at a certain time, you can't do this and you can't do that. We're not in kindergarten, and we all pay our own HOAs, and we all should be able to run the rec room. If there's a liability issue, then that building wants the exercise. I don't understand why they can't get insurance to cover it. But the rules are just really getting out of hand. And when you're trying to sell properties in here and you're going to tell them all these rules, they're going to look and go, oh my God. So help us out and be a little bit more generous with the rules.
Yes, John?
My feedback on that comment is that these things come up in our committee meetings because real occurrences happen and nobody really knows how to deal with them. And having been a part of these discussions, I felt they were actually very fair and reasonable, trying to think through what's not too oppressive, what makes the most sense for the most people. So better to have a simple set of rules than watch people damage rec rooms and nobody knows exactly how to deal with them because we don't have any guidelines to go and refer to.
Yes, Lynn?
What I want to say is that we talked to Tim Loy about both of these resolutions, and he told us he couldn't support us if we didn't have the resolutions in place. So that's why we wanted the Garden Villa board wanted to put rules in place that could be upheld by compliance. So that's the reasons for these resolutions. Thank you.
So is there any other discussion? Are there any other comments? All right, so it is now time to vote, yes or no.
Lynn, yours isn't up yet?
Oh, I did. I thought I punched the button, sorry. Still didn't.
Okay, so it passes with a vote of 7-1. All right. Next, Roy.
11H. This is a motion to approve proposed changes to traffic school eligibility. This specifies that certain violations, including parking, RV lot parking, and handicap parking, are not eligible for traffic school. It specifies certain moving violations that are not eligible for traffic school, including reckless driving, unlicensed driver, and hit and run. This was presented to the Resident Policy and Compliance Task Force on June 12th, was approved. It's my understanding that Chief Moy is presenting his changes to the United Board as well as to GRF. Siobhan, is that correct? So if we all approve these changes, then they will be in effect for everybody in the village. I move approval of these proposed changes.
I second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, sorry, not on this.
All right, I have a question, though. If for some reason it passed with this board and it didn't pass with another one of the boards, what would happen? Siobhan, Jeff? All right, somebody should answer.
I think we would have to revisit the item and see if we can bring consistency between both parties, because we only want to have one set of
Right.
rules.
Okay. But in a lot of ways, this makes makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So,
Excuse me.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when the chief presented this, his rationale was that these are very serious violations, and that to escape normal fines for these kinds of things, you could go to traffic school for, what, $25 or something, and a lot of people apparently are doing that. So that's why we wanted to make sure that these were not eligible for traffic school. I think that was, Siobhan, am I correct? Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Has anything been done at all about giving warnings for parking violations, or?
I'm going to ask Francis Gomez to come up and respond.
Hey.
Good morning, Francis.
So yes, we do issue courtesy notices to residents, especially when you're doing a change. For example, when you approved the, is this better? When there's a change in the rules policy, we do issue a courtesy notices for a period of time. So that's a custom practice. Anybody beyond that who gets another citation will go ahead and get a citation with the fine. Right now, they're all eligible to come to traffic school, and like Director mentioned it, with $20, you could bypass the actual citation fee that's attached to it. So what we're trying to do is to make the traffic school more efficient. So have it be more specific for the speeding tickets, for the for those kind of items that are specifically geared towards traffic school. Anything parking citations that are not talked about in traffic school, we want to have be ineligible. Any reckless driving, such as putting other residents in harm's way, we don't want those to be able to go to traffic school and bypass the citation and the fee.
So the reason why I ask about the parking is, and this was a while ago, but they had a notice up that people should move their cars from the parking structure because they were cleaning it. So the people tried to park along this side. I'm thinking of where I live. And some of them didn't do that great a job of parking along the side. You know, they might have been on the sidewalk because they weren't used to it. And I saw that a security person was giving tickets out.
Yeah.
And I said to him, you know, this is really like mean, because these people are trying to comply with the request to move their car so they can clean the garage, and they're probably not used to parking there. And he didn't care what I said. He didn't care who I was, what I said, anything. And I want to hope that we are not, that for parking, the first time somebody would get a parking notice, they would be warned, because it might be for a very not
Agreed.
bad reason. So that is the case.
Yes, and in
Okay.
some situations, because all those citations come to a traffic specialist, the traffic specialist reviews all the citations, and so does the supervisors and the watch commanders before they get input into the system. So in a situation like that, where staff is literally forcing the residents to move out of the
Right.
carports, it wouldn't be reasonable for them to be also on top of that, get a citation with a fee.
Okay, all right. Yes, Annie?
I just wanted to comment on, because I sit on the traffic committee, and when residents have a citation, they come before the committee, we have the option of saying guilty with no fine, so that the residents may or may not have to pay a fine for their violation.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Well, did you know that? I didn't. Well, thank you very much. All right, and thank you, Francis. Yes, yes.
This resolution is only about the traffic school eligibility,
Yes.
not the amounts that are.
No, just eligibility.
Yeah.
And I asked the other thing because of the eligibility. All right, so then all of those in favor? My screen is broken. Oh, it's okay. All right, everyone was in favor. Okay, good. Next.
Next, 11I, adopt the revised interior inspection of vacant manors and the fee schedule. Main points: inspection and administrative fees need to cover costs. Inspection and administrative fee of $100 should be charged to the owner for each inspection. Manors without a key on file will incur an additional charge of a minimum of $135 for locksmith service. This was approved by the Finance Committee on July 2nd, 2019. I move we adopt these revisions.
Second.
Okay, and an important part of this is that this is really nothing new.
Correct.
That this was a fee that existed in the past, and whoever put the resolution together neglected to put the fees on it. So we're not suddenly saying, ooh, here's a new fee. This is a fee that we had always had, and they hadn't done it correctly, and we noticed it, so it was just to correct it. So, all those in favor? Oh, wait, excuse me, that was my discussion. Any other discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Your microphone?
Thank you. On the page following, the yellow one, the date should be August 20th. It says 21. So we need to correct that.
Thank you, Kush.
Okay. But my question is that what will trigger a inspection? If I go on vacation, somebody goes and inspects, I have to pay $100?
No.
So
It
what-
has to do with a unit, and I'm going to be vague with this, but it has to do with a unit not being occupied for, 6 months? Yeah, 6 months, some units a year. We found when this was evaluated, when the mistake was made, that there were some units that had not been inspected for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. What happens if a unit is not inspected? Because it's vacant, because there are quite a number of vacant units in here. We run the risk of leaks, mold, things like that.
Right.
So it's a practice that we really want to have in place, that if a unit we have a vacant unit list, that we go and inspect them to make sure that they are not posing a danger to neighboring units.
If there's a neighbor who's experiencing any water damage, they will inform us. And then you have an
Right, it's just-
inspection, that's fair. But if there is nothing going on and we know that this is not occupied, are we going to generate a courtesy request of a letter?
Yes,
or
there's an
something?
entire procedure as to what is done. We notify the owner, we don't just run and do it, because the biggest problem is that we weren't inspecting it and it impacted our insurance. So it's an
So
entire
if there's a-
process, is
If
that
there's a
correct?
process, that's good enough, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it
May I
is
ask-
an entire process.
What is the frequency of inspection if you find the unit, vacant? Do we know that? Or we go every week, we go every month, we go every quarter?
No. We would try to do it once a year. Is that correct, Steve?
I just want to make sure
Every
that
6
people
months.
know that,
All right, but you don't run every 3 weeks to go inspect a unit.
Well-
The basic thing was, no, but it is a procedure, it's a documented procedure. The only problem is when all of this was done, the person who did it forgot to put the fee in it, but we notify the residents. We try to do everything, but we had to do this to make sure that our insurance covered it, that it was done correctly, that we make sure that we have the right address on file, the right communication. We're trying to make sure that for our residents, we have email communication also, so there is an entire process
Yeah, I
involved.
understand. I just want to make sure that the residents know that they're not going to be, because these are fine involved.
Right.
So if we go there every month because something, then they're
No.
going to compile a lot of flags.
But then if we're going there, if something leaked, we're not going to charge them a $100 inspection fee. That's something that we have to do because M&C.
Just want to make sure we're clear.
Okay.
Before
Brett's
we
sitting in
vote.
the back row. He runs this program. He's
No,
hiding
we don't.
back there.
We don't need him for this. I talked enough for you, Brett.
Okay.
Okay, so, we have a speaker, we have someone who wants to speak? Okay, good. Who
Yes,
is-
Tammy?
Tammy, you were here for the money. You're here for something else? You couldn't control
you
us.
haven't given money.
Feces in her,
Right,
in her
okay.
bathroom. My question to you is if you have a family member who lives in here who passes away and you don't live anywhere around here and it takes a year to handle that. And so that means it's vacant for 6 months. My mom has a bunch of units around her that are vacant. Will you also be coming out to look at those and to charge those family members that might be dealing with some pretty sad issues with trying to handle their family matters? There might only be one person that handles it.
Yeah, we try to be very, that's why they're notified. I mean, we don't just send to say, we're going to the unit next week and here's the bill.
Correct.
No, there's an entire process where we notify them, and it's really done to protect
Correct.
their asset as well as to protect their neighbor's asset. So it's done with, it's a very well-organized program to do this. Okay. All right. Brett, did I miss anything? Okay, good. All right. All those in favor? All right, it passes unanimously. All right, the next item is,
11J, approve entering into an agreement with Sageview Advisory Group for investment management services. This particular motion,
is this on 28 day or it's just?
no, this
okay.
has been on 28 day. We're not to the end of that list yet.
Oh, all right.
11J, approve entering into an agreement with Sageview Advisory Group for investment management services. This was recommended by the Investment Task Force. It was approved by the GRF Finance Committee on July 2nd, 2019. It was approved by the Third Finance Committee on August 6th, 2019. I move we approve entering into this agreement.
A second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, well, I think it's very important to remind our residents here that we did a lot of research, so we're going to a different company where we believe very strongly that we are going to get better management services with better fees, but that there is no plan, and John, why don't you finish?
Thank you very much. I was only holding back comment because there's a lot more information coming on this in the coming weeks and months. And this is just the first phase where the evaluation has been done on overall service and responsiveness. So we're trying to get consensus among the mutuals to see if everybody wants to deal with these folks, and it appears they do. And then we'll go and start to research ways to safely improve yield. We're not looking at equities or anything of that nature, but right now it's strictly for service purposes. So we found there's some significant service upgrades available moving to Sageview, and that's what the proposal today is.
Okay. So there's no noted change in how our investments are done. However, it just has to do with service, with better fees, okay.
As of today, that's correct.
All right. So, so do we have to vote on this?
Yes.
Any speakers? Cheryl, is there any speakers on this? Okay.
Any other comments by the board? All right. So we have a motion.
Yeah. Can I make
And
one
it was
comment?
seconded? Was it seconded by?
Me.
All right. So now you have a comment.
Okay, as further clarification of what John said, they've really looked in depth on this, and also there's no transfer fees to move from our old company to the new company. So we're saving money that way, which ordinarily could go the other direction. But it's a good process. They've spent a lot of time in depth on this, and it hasn't been looked at in like 30 years. And we have 6 people from the community who are residents on there and 1 staff member. They really dug deep into it. We said, there's no box. Look outside the box. Look whatever you want. Bring in people to interview, which they did. So it was very in-depth analysis. So I just want to make that comment.
A lot of board members have felt for years, or who've questioned, and this is from the different boards, the level of service we had from the company that we were with. And some of us just found the guy's attitude really annoying. And the thing is we might not be as big as some other investors, but it's very important to us. So that is why we wanted somebody who was more caring, more involved, local, great, very good reputation. And the committee, so we've been complaining about it, and finally, the board members said, wait a minute, we want to get an advisory group together, and we went out and got members of the community. We have one of the people who was on our finance advisor team, people who this is what they do, or this is what they did, who were willing to work with the treasurers and work with staff. But you interviewed a number of different companies and got all of their proposals, et cetera. So you did an RFP, actually, right? Request for proposal. All right, so at that point, we have talked about it. And so then this just passes, that we're going to enter into the agreement, right? All right.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so it passes unanimously. All right.
And finally, 11K, recommend denial of off-schedule trimming request at 3250-0 Corbo. 6 peppermint trees based on no noticeable trunk damage, pest or disease, no surface rooting, and well-balanced canopies. The Landscape Committee denied this request on July 8th. And the board tabled the vote on it at its July 16th meeting. So we need to move on this at this point. I move that we deny this off-trimming schedule request.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, so this is where you can have discussion.
Yep.
On the part of the board. We tabled it to try to gather more information. And Lynn, as you are the chair of landscapes, do you have anything that you want to say?
Well, basically, we're just going to wait till the next year's cycle comes around, because that's a lot of trees, and we decided there's no reason to really do that work right now.
Okay, all right, so you did take the time to go and
Yes,
reinvestigate this?
we did.
All right, are there any other? Yes, Cheryl?
We have a request to speak from Len Corbeau.
Okay. Please.
Since I made that request to speak, I've been advised that we can seek an alternative, I can seek an alternative it, so go ahead and deny it.
Okay. All right, so, all right then. So we have a motion, it was seconded, so now we can vote. So we recommend to deny, so you would be voting yes to deny. Okay, the vote was unanimous. Now we have finished all of unfinished business, so we're going to go to new business. So Roy, you're going to do that too? You must be, you
Yes,
can get
ma'am.
tired.
No, I still have my voice, fading fast. We have 8 of these under new business, and there are 2 recommendations related to tree removal. The rest of these resolutions go on 28-day review, so I'll make that point when we get there. 12A is a recommendation to deny tree removal request 3513-A. Resident's last name is Sandusky. It involves one southern magnolia tree. The Landscape Committee denied this request on August 1st, 2019. The denial was based on our tree removal guidelines. I move that we approve the Landscape Committee's recommendation.
A second.
Any discussion? Any comments? Cheryl, anything out there? Okay.
I'll make a comment, one comment.
Oh, go right ahead.
This came to landscape, and we looked at it, we didn't see any reason at all to remove that tree. And not only that, there were no neighbor awareness forms signed.
Okay. So when you vote right now, if you vote yes, you will be voting
To deny.
to deny. Okay. It passes unanimously. I have a question on number B. Recommend to review the request? What does that mean? Of course we would review the request.
Lynn, you want to handle that one?
No, but I mean.
No, this is one of the,
We talked about this.
It was something we wanted to review as a board.
Okay. So we have to sort of re-review the request.
well, we have to look at it and then we can probably
In depth.
take a vote.
Okay. So, all right. So you have a recommendation to review the request.
For
right?
tree removal,
Off-schedule.
off-schedule trimming request 2379-B, last name is King. There are 4 Indian laurel fig trees in question. The Landscape Committee approved this request on August 1st. The approval was based on the excessive litter from the trees. However, the tree removal guidelines prohibit removal based on litter alone. And so we have to make a call here as a board, whether we're going to back the Landscape Committee or whether we're going to make an independent decision. So it's up to Lynn to describe where we are, or John, or
Did
Kush.
you get a second on, or we didn't get a recommendation?
I move, well, we don't know what we're moving. I mean, I guess we're moving denial, right?
Yeah, yes, we are.
That's what you want to do? Okay, so I move we deny this request.
Second.
And
Okay.
Lynn will send it, now we can have discussion.
I have a question. If we move forward to remove it, how much would it have costed us?
Kush your mic.
You have to put your mic on.
I keep forgetting. Been gone too long.
Can
So,
we,
do you want me to repeat my question?
Yes.
Okay, if we were to approve this to remove the trees, what would it cost us? How much would it cost us? Any idea?
well, I don't have, I'm not sure how much it would cost, to tell you the truth, but that's not the question.
I think there's a little confusion on this one. I
Yeah,
don't think
there
we're
is.
talking about removal, we're talking about a complete trimming versus a off-schedule
right.
minor trim.
Approved.
And the
Yes.
cost, as I understood it, if you remember, was $3,000
Okay.
extra
Sorry.
for what
I'm
we
on-
approved.
I'm on the wrong resolution.
Okay, so basically, what we're, because this is very confusing, so we're recommending, you're recommending to deny the trimming, deny the removal?
Okay,
Deny
can I-
what?
okay,
What are we
hang on,
denying, what
let
are you
me-
denying?
Okay, let me explain. We're denying the full trimming of all these 4 trees right now. Kurt did say that what they could do temporarily, because there's so many berries there, just do a hand swipe of, how do you explain? Just within reach. They're going to do just a small little bit of trimming for now and put this on the agenda for next year's schedule. We can't go ahead, we reevaluate this. Right now, we have in our inventory 193 of these laurel fig trees. If we had to go out every time somebody didn't want their berries on their sidewalk or whatever, we would not be in business because it would be very, very costly. So we took another look at this when we looked at the list of trees we have. So that's what we're recommending we do with this right now, is to go with Kurt's recommendation of just doing a little bit of trimming for now, next year.
But then, if you're going to go to that recommendation, so once we trim these, what about the other 170? Are we going to go and trim, because we trim these? See, lots of times
We're just
when
doing
you...
a little basic trimming, not much.
Yeah, but a little basic trimming for 4, so then you set a precedent. So now I think that Jeff and Siobhan, you should decide this. So we're going to go do 4.
I guess
What
you're
about the
right.
other
You're right.
170?
Yep.
And what if you want to do those? So that's why I think that whenever you do something, then you're saying, well, I did those. Why did I do those?
That's true.
So if it's a little trimming, well, then you're going to do a little trimming for 180 trees, however many you said there were, because you did a little trimming on those. So do you have anything you want to say, Siobhan?
I would like to call Kurt up to address this question, but I think generally as we're going around and we notice things, we do take some action. If a tree needs to be trimmed from the ground, we will do that.
Good morning. Still morning, right?
No, not at the rate we're going.
This tree, there's 4 trees in a row and they abut a sidewalk. The residents requested a full trim, which is scheduled for next year. It's in next year's budget. So we proposed a temporary fix, which we do often, where there are these types of trees adjacent to sidewalks. We'll come and do what we call a cleanup trim, where we'll trim some of the lower branches just to get the berries off, so that it reduces the amount of litter. It's a lot less work than bringing in a whole tree crew. We can do it with just 2 guys from the ground. It takes us half an hour and we can be done and out. And we do this throughout the year, at least through berry season, which is almost over as it is.
So then why didn't you just do this without it even coming to the board?
The residents requested more. They wanted
okay.
the trees either removed or fully trimmed. And these are also on the perimeter, and full trims on these make more noise for other residents, so that's that for consideration also.
Yes.
Just so the board members who weren't there have a full picture, this was an excessive, I know these berries get all over the place, but this thing was literally, you could hardly see the sidewalk, and there was some confusion in terminology of what exactly a trim versus a cleanup trim was, and that's why post-meeting, post-landscape committee meeting, this got looked at again, because we were able to understand the differences and recognize that berry season's almost over, and next year this will get the full trim, and the most cost-effective and what seemed to be the right solution for the community, were this to come up at this level, was to go with Kurt's initial recommendation of just a cleanup trim.
So what does our motion say?
Exactly.
Thank you, Kurt.
Your motion is to deny the members' requests for tree removal and off-schedule trimming.
Okay, so we can vote on that. And
May I have a
the
comment?
motion, the vote would be no, and then we would do a new motion that says we vote to approve a cleanup.
Well, the problem's been solved. We don't
Yeah,
even have to
problem's
vote.
Well,
I mean, we don't need a new
if it's
motion.
on the list as new business, we have to handle it. We can't say, oh, we're not going to vote on it.
Okay,
Thing is we should complete,
the process.
thank you. So, yes, Reza?
Thank you, Madam President. When the member came to the meeting, there were several of them, and they have passionate plea based on the safety. So we have to look at that, make sure that we address that is either it is a safety issue or it's not safety issue. These are seasonal issues. the trees shed those berries on a seasonal basis. It's not a year-round issue that you cut trees, because if you want to do that, we have to cut all the trees in this neighborhood, because there are many areas, even right in front of my house, that berries fall, and I walk on them. So because this seasonal issue, we need to look at some cleaning rather than just keep cutting trees, especially on the perimeters, because those are the safety factor and noise factor also. But remember that, the members that came to the meeting, they were talking about safety. So should we educate people that, they living in the areas that there are berries on the ground and things on the ground, that they have to be careful? And these are seasonal issues. These are not year-round that we have to fix. So my message to the residents is that because the berries is on the ground, we cannot just cut the trees for 2 months of the possibly inconvenience. Because if we do that, we have to cut about 200, 300 trees in all the neighborhood. Can't do that. I mean, we need to get the message across to the member. It's not just trimming or not trimming, is what the member said that we need to address. They were concerned about safety. Is really a safety issue? I don't think so. I don't think it's a safety issue. Berries on the ground is everywhere. It's in all neighborhoods. We just have to be careful. These are seasonal issues. Trees shed, those berries or whatever they have.
So you're saying that it's a seasonal issue. John seems, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, seems to think that it's big for this particular trees. It was more than seasonal because it was so thick. I don't know. So the basic thing is what we have to agree on now is what are we going to do to fix this? What is going to be how we move forward in the future? So that's what we're talking about.
So the motion is to deny the request.
Okay, so we should deny it.
Yeah.
I know, so we're denying the motion, we're denying the motion to remove the trees, we're denying the motion to schedule an off-schedule trimming, we're denying that. Then we will do a motion that says we're gonna do a mini trim on these trees, okay? Yes.
Yes. Well, yes.
Yes, we're yes to deny.
Come on, John.
Well, okay, so everybody unanimously denies. Now we need a motion. Lynn, could you do a motion, or John, to do this mini trim that Kurt has requested?
All right,
So
okay.
Oh.
That's good. Second it.
I guess you're all getting crazy. All right, so all those in favor of approving Kurt's, any more discussion? No. All those of approving Kurt's mini trim for now. But I do really think that we have to focus on what Reza is saying also. I think that's very important. Right, so I don't see. All right, yes. Okay, next.
So we vote yes on this?
Yes. Okay, the following items are all items that are going to be introduced for 28 days, so we're not voting on them, correct?
That is
All you're
correct.
doing is you're going to go over the motion and why it's there.
That's right.
All right, good.
That's
So
right.
don't be worried, you're not going to be voting now.
No, and we'll make our lunch. 12C, introduce a resolution prohibiting all new planting of fruit trees and vegetables in the common area. This resolution prohibits planting of any fruit trees and/or vegetables in the common area. It authorizes staff to remove any unmaintained fruit trees in the common area. It authorizes staff to remove fruit trees in the common area during the resale process. And this resolution supersedes two previous resolutions, one 311-30 and M3-84-122 on the subject. And this resolution was approved by the Landscape Committee on August 1st, 2019.
Okay.
Next is 12D, introduce a resolution for a co-occupancy policy. This establishes a co-occupancy policy for the first time. It distinguishes very clearly between the lessee and the co-occupant, and it provides an application process for co-occupants that is consistent with the mutual's governing documents, and it covers persons seeking an individual to share expenses and/or mutual companionship, and it was approved by the Resident Policy and Compliance Task Force on July 24th, and it has been approved and edited by our legal counsel.
Okay.
12E, introduce a resolution to revise the lease policy.
Excuse me, somebody's raising their hand. All
Oh.
of these things are in here with all information.
Yes.
And all of these items they're there. Roy has briefly summarized them, and people have 28 days to look at them online, look at the hard copies that are here, and make your comments. To Roy. If it has to do with residency, it goes to Roy. If it has to do with trees, it goes to Lynn. If it has to do with architecture, it goes to Steve. If it has to do with anything else.
Siobhan.
Money, it goes to John, and anything else goes to Siobhan.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Yeah, I know we have some speakers, but for the board's purposes, it would be a lot better if you'd reduce your comments to writing. That way you can be very explicit and we can spend time with what you've written down as clarification of what we want to do. It's easy to just say something, but we don't get the meaning behind what you're trying to do. So I would highly recommend that anybody that wants to have something come forward, do it in writing and address it to the board, and we can take it from there.
So if somebody has a problem with the co-occupancy policy, they should write an email to Roy and tell him what their problem is.
Yeah.
And then.
That's my recommendation.
That's your recommendation. But if you would like a discussion, because you think that that would be more beneficial for you to explain your opinion, and writing is not your forte, request a meeting, okay? Got it? All right, next.
12E, introduce a resolution to revise the lease policy. We have worked on that for quite a while. This is a very small tweak. It requires the execution of a new lease authorization application and the cost for same when adding or subtracting individuals during an approved lease term. And this was approved by the Resident Policy and Compliance Task Force on July 24th, 2019. It has also been reviewed and edited by our legal counsel.
So you wouldn't necessarily call this a revision of the lease policy. You're updating the lease policy?
Well, it's a revision because in the past, we have not required a new lease authorization when you start adding and subtracting during the lease term.
But revise is such a strong word to me. It's like,
Well,
it feels like you're throwing the whole thing out the window.
Whenever I see revision marks on a Word
What
document,
about
that's a
fine
revision.
tuning?
Oi.
Refining. I just hate, revise just means, to me, always means like you're changing the whole thing.
Not the whole thing, just
Well,
one paragraph.
One paragraph,
Yeah.
right. So.
Well, we
I
could
think-
say tweaking. with
Well,
that.
updating is a little bit more. If we could just find a better word for when you put it on again. All right.
All right.
That's good. That's a good thing. All of these are good things. See, what you're doing to the lease policy is you really are tweaking it. You're working to constantly improve it based on input from the residents and based on input from the staff. So that's why I think revise isn't good.
No, I
So
just
and
put
how
them in.
about improving the lease policy? No, just a joke. All right, next.
Okay, 12AF, introduce a resolution for an alternative heat source policy. The highlights, any new primary alternative heat source will require a city permit and a mutual consent. No new ceiling fan mutual consents will be issued without having a corresponding alternative heat source listed on the same mutual consent. All alternative heat sources shall be hardwired and installed on a dedicated circuit. This was approved by the Architecture Committee on July 22nd, 2019.
Okay,
Next, 12G, introduce a resolution to revise Standard 41 This has to do with solar panels, one-story buildings. It modifies flat roof mountings, requires 10 inches above the flat roof. It adds requirements for sloped roof mounting of the panels, and it requires flat roof tie-in work on PVC roofing to be completed by the mutual roofing contractor at the member's expense. All solar panel installations located on the roof of a unit must be inspected and approved by a VMS roofing inspector. This was approved by the Architecture Committee on July 22nd, 2019.
And all of this, once it is revised, will be in writing for the residents, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Next.
12H, approve the
Numbering is different from.
Yes, it is. The agenda is correct. There are two 12Es. I'm glad you're reading this stuff.
Because with the solar panel in mind.
Yeah, Kush, there are two 12Es. It was a clerical error. It's not a substantive error. Just turn the page. 12H, approve.
Okay, next, let's go.
12H, approve the 2020 collection and lien enforcement policy. We do this every year. It increases the delinquent charge from 10% to 12%, approved by the Finance Committee on August 6, 2019. This does not go on 28 days. It requires a vote today.
Okay, so you have, you made a motion?
I so move.
I second.
Any discussion?
I thought we were not voting on any of them.
This is the only one that,
Well, it says in the.
it says initial notification must postpone 28 days. It says it on here.
Well, in that case, we won't
Forget about
vote.
the motion.
Forget about the motion.
This goes on 28 days.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kush. All
Glad
right.
somebody's paying attention.
Yep, all right. Okay, so we're done. Thank you very much, Roy. A lot of hard work on that. So now we're going to do committee reports. First committee report is Finance, Director Pearlstone.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to try to go through some highlights, and you will find this, what number are we on? Is it 13? I want to make sure everybody who's got the agenda packet can follow, because I'm going to try to hit the most important numbers and see if I can buy us some time. But let's jump in. The first thing you'll see on slide 1, do we have the slides ready to go, Cheryl? Everybody's seeing them on TV? We start with the big picture, and this is our 4th month in a row of really consistent performance, and things will start to evolve in a little different way through the rest of the year. These numbers are through the mid-year, June 30th, and everything is operating very much according to the game plan so far. We had assessment revenue of over $16 million, and a net revenue after all expenses, if you go down to the bottom of that slide, of $2.8 million. So that's similar to prior months, and you'll see on some of the charts we'll show in a minute how that breaks down and how that might change as we get closer to year end. When you take a look at slide 2, you'll see that we focus in on operations, the day-to-day sort of work that doesn't include reserve revenue. And in this situation, once again, things are operating pretty much as expected, 9.3 million of assessment revenue. We have non-assessment revenue. It's actually pretty significant of 792,000. The two biggest components for that are chargeable services, but also there's been a good management of our investment accounts, and we've had higher than expected interest income. So there's a note on there that says they've taken out unrealized gains, and I'll show you that on the pie chart and what that means. So I will answer that question for anybody who's curious. But this is actual realized revenue, so that's going very favorably for us this year. And if you go to the bottom, it's leaving us through June 30th with an operating surplus, more revenue than expenses of $574,000. Then if you go on to slide 3, this is the number that I think a lot of people want to get a handle on, and that is how are we doing compared to our budget. And so far, things look very favorable. Assessment revenue of over $16 million, we've already noted. You can see the other line items. We have additional non-assessment revenue. That totals up. And then our total expenses, actual of $14.6 million versus a budget of $17.1 million. So we're under budget on expenses, which leaves a net surplus through June 30th of $2.8 million. And I'll be coming back to why that's important to have that surplus based on the way the work's going to go the rest of the year. in our next slide. But so far, things look very favorable to our budget. And let's get into some of the specifics now that'll help clear up some of these numbers on slide 4. So this breaks down what the surplus consists of, and the biggest chunk is outside services. And I took a look at our project log so everybody would know why this number is so over through June. We've got a lot of work that's just getting rolling now. Remember, it rained a good chunk of the first quarter of the year. There's a lot of work that's just kicking in that's still to be done on dry rot. The paving, which is a fairly sizable number, doesn't start till November. We've got the roofing repairs in process that are significant, so those numbers are starting to ramp up. And then there's paint, which is an ongoing thing, but again, we had to delay how much of it we could do early in the year. And finally, the waistline remediation, which was brought up earlier in today's meeting, and how important that is to get our waistlines cleaned up so we stop having backflows and things of that nature. And that's ramping up as we go into the second half of the year, too. So that explains why it's important through June 30th to have a nice surplus, because a lot of this will get utilized as the year goes on. Non-assessment revenue, I've already accounted for what that was. It's our chargeable services program, as well as interest income that is being received in excess of expectations this year. And then there's some savings we've had in employee compensation. We're still seeing some small savings from the water and electricity versus what we expected for the year. And we're trying to stay on top of that with our water committee. And then finally, uncollectible accounts are being very aggressively managed, and it's a very small percentage and doing extremely well. So that gives you a real feel for how we're doing compared to the real budget, meaning a lot of work's still to come, but the money's there to do the work. So moving on to slide 5, you can see this in a pie chart and get a feel for how this thing splits up. From non-assessment revenue, we mentioned most of it is in the right-hand side of the pie, which is fees and charges to residents and our interest income. I'll direct your attention to the bottom left corner, unrealized gain. Worth mentioning that there's been an accounting change in the way we're presenting information, and this is our gain so far this year on some of our securities, our debt securities, bonds, treasuries that we're holding. That's the gain realized so far, unrealized, not been cashed out, not realized. So that number could change. But we thought we'd want to look at it more actively than once a year. So that's why it's on there, and it's a fairly good gain so far this year. Moving on to slide 6, you can see the biggest number in our total expenses continues to be employee compensation and related. Outside services would be the second biggest, and I've already covered in the prior slide how that will start to expand. And you can see the other expenses spelled out, whether it be utilities, materials, insurance. They're significant, and we watch them carefully, but they're not among the largest expenses. But you can take a look at that and see where our assessment money is going. Moving on to slide 7. This is, again, I think very good news for the financial stability of Third Mutual. This is summarizing our non-operating balances, reserves. So we started with $29 million. We had contributions of $7 million and expenses of $5 million. So the balance as of June 30 is $31 million in our reserve funds, which is on track to what we are going to need to manage these reserve accounts and expenses that are related to them. So if you take a look, I think what I always look at is the most useful slide, and we'll see how it progresses through the rest of the year, is slide 8. Our fund balances are as high as they've been in the last 5 years, the highest in fact. And you can see how they're broken down. Most of it is replacement funds, doing the work that you'd want us to be doing, making sure that the infrastructure is being maintained, repaired, and improved. Finally, on slide 9, I like to keep the community updated on the resale history, and we did see a dip in June, but you'll notice we're seeing kind of a pattern. It's gone up and down and up and down, and I did check July, and that is actually in the board package. The most recent, we had another spike up, in fact, a fairly significant one in July. So the takeaway there is real estate sales for Third Mutual have been very stable. We're only slightly under last year's average resale price. I would say compared to the surrounding communities, things are really strong for our resale market. Things look pretty good, so that's a good sign that things are looking good to new potential community members as well. A couple other comments I want to pass along. We we've done extensive work on our budget process and feel like we've arrived at a budget that's extremely productive and useful and addresses the things we know we want to focus on for 2020. Most notably, working on those important repairs like Wasteline, where we're allocating more money for them. We've got some money allocated towards energy. And the overall increase in our assessments came out on a percentage basis to be lower than what I think most communities see. It wound up being about 2%, something of that nature, about $15. So that's the current assessment adjustment as we go into 2020. It's not final. There's still information that you can review and have input on. That budget meeting will be replayed, so you can see some of the details. And that was the dates for that. If you're interested, you can watch all the information on August 24th at 3 p.m. or August 28th at 2:30 p.m. The full meeting will be rebroadcast. I'll clarify that when I mention that assessment increase, that's everything. That includes any GRF assessments, all other factors. So to come in at that sort of number and have everything the way we want to do it to really improve things for 2020, we feel is a really good setup. I also will review what Jeff Parker mentioned, and that is that the final budget approval is at the September 17th board meeting where the budget will be voted on and approved. And that is the finance report.
Thank you very much, John. A report of the Architectural Controls and Standards, Director Parsons.
Yeah, not much has come before us recently, and we went back to take a look at how many standards we still have to do. There's 5 out there, but excuse me, the reason they haven't come forward yet is it has to be circulated between different divisions of VMS because it involves different divisions. So we want to make sure that everybody's on the same sheet of music and we're marching together. So that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Steve. The report of the Communications Committee, Director McCary.
The Communications Committee, the committee met on,
Microphone.
the Communications Committee. The committee met on July 24th. Some of the highlights of that meeting, we discussed water conservation, and 2 areas have been identified as having the highest usage of water consumption. And I won't mention who those 2 areas are, but Communications is sending a reminder letter to those residents, reminding them of the importance of conserving water. And also the captains of these particular areas have been invited to the next Communication Committee to discuss some areas for water consumption. We also discussed earthquake insurance, and there was an article in the Breeze just with some basic information about earthquake insurance to the residents. And also, marketing is working on a campaign that is multilingual, addressing issues in terms of recycling and trash consumption so that residents are informed about what is actually trash and what goes into the recycle containers. And finally, we have our election coming up on Friday, August 23rd, meet the candidates, and we're on that.
Thank you very much, Annie. Report of the Maintenance and Construction Committee. Well, we had no meeting last month, so that's a good thing. So tell us about anything new.
Well, I'm going to report on the meeting that happened on July 1st.
I did last month.
Okay, so
While you were gone.
I was gone, yeah. That's all.
So then you just have to tell us about anything new.
So the future items that will be discussed in the next meeting will be the mailroom and elevator flooring. We're going to look at that. Carport condensation panel as a chargeable service, and bulky item pickup will be discussed at that meeting. Next meeting is on 9/9/9.
So
September
999, oh, that's good. So
September 9th at 2019.
It isn't 1999 though, we only wish, look how young we'd be.
Yeah.
20 years younger, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so could you tell us at all, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but do we have any news on the street light test?
From what I understand is that we did approve the proposal to the pilot.
And so we don't know when the pilot's going to be?
At least I don't have any information
Okay.
at the moment when they're going to begin the.
All right, so when we get it, we'll make sure that it.
We'll announce it through the
Okay.
communications.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure.
And
thank
we're
you.
glad you're back.
Thank you.
And we're glad you're running for the board.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Don't know what is good about it.
So, a report on the parking and golf cart task force.
Yes, good news. We have identified 8 potential places to put in golf cart parking up in the Wedding Cake area. That's between gates 5 and 6. Those sites have been added to the concrete and paving contract that's coming out next month. So we're trying to provide some relief in parking for the folks up in that area. More to come for next year. Our task force will be continuing to work all the way through next year. And we hope to find some other things that we can do up there.
Thank you very much. Report of the Landscape Committee. Director Jarrett.
Okay. We worked on the budget. That was interesting. Got more money next year coming in for tree and slope maintenance as well as landscape modernization. Our pilot project for the landscape modernization, which is in cul-de-sac 408 and gate 14, is in its infancy. They removed one tree out of there. We're going to lose one tree, and they're doing just a little bit of work on it now to make sure that the water board or water district knows we're actually working on it, because the rebates, it's really important for us to get that rebate and get that thing underway. Next year, the rebates are going to be ongoing. And according to the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, they wrote us that the greatest potential for water savings comes from replacing the unused areas of lawn with drought-tolerant plant materials. It's estimated that with this recommendation, we could save the greatest amount of water and provide an overall cost savings towards water usage and maintenance. Well, we're on our way. We've had a lot of complaints about slope overgrowth. The work is underway. They've done a lot of work. The contractors so far, they started actually over in Bahia Blanca in the fire risk area near the water towers. They started over there. And they've been doing 2 very large slopes on Gate 14. One of them is pretty much finished, but the other one is in process now. That goes between the 3-story buildings of 4001 and 002 at the bottom behind the carports, and goes up to the top of the hill behind gates buildings 4003 to 4005. That's a huge slope and a lot of work, and that's underway right now. According to Kurt, all the slopes are going to be reworked, so they'll get to the slopes. If you haven't seen yours being worked on, it's going to happen. The aeration project will begin in October. That contract has gone through. Working towards refreshing the lawns will be great. The tree maintenance is ongoing. At the end of June, there were 99 palm trees trimmed, 26 trees removed, among other work. We'll see, like I said, a lot of tree trimming next year. It was good to see the resolution today to go forward to get rid of no vegetables and no fruit tree planting, because of the rat population across the world is increasing tremendously. So we're going to do our little part because we want to get rid of those rats. Anyway, I want to mention one thing about people coming to the landscape committee meetings is the tree topping. So many times people think they can just come in and get trees topped. We don't top trees. So anyway, that's in our resolutions. Tree topping, no tree topping. The next landscape meeting will be on September the 5th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Report of the Water Subcommittee, Director Karimi.
Thank you. Ms. Len Jarrett and I participated in the CAC meeting at the El Toro Water District. They had a presentation regarding the water quality. And the message was that the water quality that El Toro Water provide to the residents is excellent. The reason is that we receive most of our water from the surface water, from rivers and the lakes, not underground water, which is less susceptible to the emerging contaminants such as the PFAS and PFOS, which are the perfluoro, octanoic acid and those type of things that comes nowadays cause emerging contaminant. So the message was the tap water that we use is much better than the bottled water that we buy. And that's their claim. And I think I agree with them because at least the lab data shows that. So we should be all comfortable using the tap water with El Toro water and, with a lot of convenience. Also, we made the contact with Mr. Jose Vergara, which is director of the El Toro Water District, and we discussed to make some arrangement for the meeting either at the Laguna Woods Village or at the El Toro Water to discuss the mutual interest of our community with the district water and also what they can offer to the Laguna Village. So I'm waiting for that meeting and a call back from Ms. Vergara. I hope I can get called back this week. If not, I will contact him again, or I stop by the district and see if we can make that arrangement. That's my report.
Thank you very much. And your next meeting is on?
October 9, 2019.
Thank you very much. Report of the Resident Policy and Compliance Task Force, Director Bruninghouse.
Thank you, Madam President. Task Force met on July 24th, and the main items that we discussed and approved were the tweaks to the lease policy and the approval of the new co-occupant policy, which was developed initially by a study group consisting of Stuart Hack and Sherry Horn and our wonderful staff. The next meeting is August 29th at 1 p.m. in the boardroom, and one of the items on the agenda is smoking, so residents may want to attend that. Thank you.
Did we get the new proposed smoking policy from Tim Moy?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right. So thank you very much. And the report of the Village Energy Task Force, Director Parsons.
Yes, on the 19th, which was yesterday, 10 a.m. here in the boardroom, was the Energy Committee. We heard a presentation from the EMS Cloud Control Artificial Intelligence System folks. And you may not realize it, but when new systems are put in place, they do a performance check to make sure that the new systems meet the specs of the manufacturer, but it doesn't necessarily go deeper into the actual operations of these systems. So that's what this company has done. It was actually, the company was set up by a space technology expert. And what they do is they take a little device and they plug it into a control system, like an EMS system, in a building, and it monitors and all the different systems to include dampers, vents, temperature controls. In 70% of the buildings they've been in, they found where for a certain period, the temperature will be at 76, and it's supposed to be at 75. So you'll have the cooling that'll come on. And then it'll turn right around right after it gets to that temperature and kick in the heat to bring it back to 76. So it identifies fluctuations like this and gives a report so that these things can be corrected. So it constantly maps data points, detects problems, and measures inefficiencies, which are very significant. The cost for them to set up a system per facility is extremely low. We're talking about less than $10,000 and a monthly fee of around $150 per month. So it's something that some folks picked up on at a conference, and they had a presentation. It was only a presentation, nothing to move forward on, just for awareness, but it's nice to know that they're looking at things that are out there that can enhance our efforts to save money in the long run.
Thank you very much. Next are reports on GRF committees. If there was no meeting, you don't have to report anything. So on community activities, Director Carpenter is off, and John is going to report. Okay?
There was no meeting,
There was no meeting.
so there you
All
go.
right, so that's good. All right, so the next meeting is September 12th at 1:30 in the boardroom. Okay. Finance, there was no meeting.
Next meeting is tomorrow. No, Thursday. I'm sorry, I apologize.
No,
21st.
tomorrow,
At 1:30 in the
Wednesday at
boardroom.
1:30 in the boardroom.
I'll try to make sure I'm there.
Landscape Committee,
All right, the landscape committee met, and I agree with Doug Gibson, who was here this morning, and mentioned how that the people wanted, I think Reza was there also, several people in the audience asked for more frequent meetings. And quite a few people show up to that meeting, but there wasn't any request to have more meetings, but I really think that maybe we need to tell them, recommend that the next time we meet with them. The other thing I mentioned, because they glazed over it was on the future agenda items for the landscape at the gates. So I held the agenda. I said, wait a minute, what about that? We want to talk about that now. So I brought up the fact that there wasn't any planning for the landscaping at the gates. And I wanted to make sure that Third Mutual was taken care of, especially gates 7 and 14. And Kurt took a note of that. The other thing is the biggest discussion at that meeting, the most time spent, was the creek. So much interest in that, and the bridge there. And one of the things is that a lot of people came to complain about the cattails, how they're just taking over. So Kurt said that they would go ahead and remove cut the cattails back September the 1st. But by January, they're going to be back again. And what happens when you cut one cattail, it creates 200 more. Jeez. And that's a fact, which I didn't know about. They brought that up. So they're going to have to do more planning for the cattails. They just can't keep ahead of it. And the next meeting will be on November the 13th.
I would say for landscape, and we probably should have brought this up when we talked about third, is we really need to work on improving communication between the departments as far as it relates to landscape. I.e., we're going to get we're going to be getting into our termiting. This is like, I think, the season that we do it. And so when we tent the buildings, a lot of the plants die. And so Kurt has to not be involved because they're not moving the plants anymore. That's changed. But after a building is tented, very often there's some dead plants. So we really need to work on the communication link between the departments. So, because after you move back into your building and go through the nightmare of it, and then you keep walking into the front and there are like dead plants there, and that just happens. So if we have to just work on communication. Maintenance and Construction Committee, the committee met on August 14th, and neither Director Carpenter nor Frankel are here, so I don't know.
I can give you a little highlight.
Go right ahead.
I did fill in for Director Frankel.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and the entire portion of the meeting was mainly comprised of the community center's roof and the completion of the AC system and the discussion of that. And then, I can't read my own handwriting. It was announced that in future meeting, the Clubhouse 1 building assessment report will be presented.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll be in September? No, that'll be
in February of 2000.
February?
Yes, 2020, because they won't be ready for that until then. And then the EV charging stations at the GRF facility, which is outside over here, will be completed before the end of this year, before the deadline date of the
Grant?
the grant.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and the next meeting is on October 9th.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Kush.
Yeah.
The-
So I'm also going to talk about the PAC meeting. I think
We
John-
were both there, but
Yes.
I had to leave right before the conclusion. Let me start, I did want to make a general comment about it. They presented in great detail, I don't know if that's on TV or not, but
Correct.
great detail what they intend to do. And I was pleased to see that there seems to be some fiscal discipline in the approach. They're really trying to live with the budgets they've received and start with the most important steps first and present everything else as options that can be considered and phased in over time. So that's, that seemed to be a very productive way to do things, and it was generally well received. I know everybody didn't get what they wanted or needed, but the most important thing is we're getting started with the process. So I was happy with that. And then Kush was there for the final resolution.
So there was a recommendation. They couldn't make a resolution because this is an ad hoc committee. So they made a recommendation to present it to the board of the GRF to move ahead with the presentation and to accept the $3.7 million proposal with with an additional 10% for contingency.
And is that budgeted for?
Yeah, they have 3.5.
3.5 is budgeted, and
Yes.
the idea was to stop the annual increases by getting in front of this now. So some of it's going to be over, but hopefully, and I had made the comment, maybe they can push some of it into 2021, so budgets would accommodate for all of it.
And we actually made a change with that committee for this year because we worry so much about how others spend our money. So now we have a finance person as well as a M&C person on that committee. So thank you very much, Director Pearlstone, for stepping up to the plate. Yes, Steve?
Yeah, I was at that meeting, and there were several people who were making a comment, which I think follows in line with our CEO, that there needs to be a long-range plan for updating clubhouses 1, 4, and also the remaining part of the pack. And they're not necessarily against this, but they want to see how the cash flows in the future and when we're targeting in on doing these things. So I think that's something to keep in front of GRF, strategic planning, because there are other things that we're looking at doing to help support that, working together with United and GRF along these lines.
Thank you, Steve. Media and Communications. Annie? Director Annie. How is that you're the only ones that have your first name? Director Annie.
Born that way, I guess.
I don't see Director Kush, I don't see Director John, but you're Director Annie.
I just got it like that.
It's just a typo.
Okay. So the committee did meet yesterday. There was a proposal by Chuck Holland, and the proposal was for a 3-year contract extension with West Coast Internet to increase the broadband. Broadband, yes, speed, broadband speed, thank you. Roy was also there. And and it would be at a cost of probably $2, a little over $2 per month per resident.
An increase?
Increase of $2 per month. But they would get a significant increase in the service for the broadband. Is that? Yeah.
That's basically correct. What Chuck's trying to do is offer higher internet speeds, ultimately trying by 2025 to get to 1 gigabyte per second, which is probably as good as you can get at that point, given the technology. What he's proposing is for an additional $2 per month that we pay to West Coast Internet, they will increase the speeds of each of the tiers. As you know, there are 4 tiers. I believe the lowest is 30 megabits per second. The highest right now is 100. That's going to go to 150 for an extra $2 a month. All of them are going to go up. So if somebody can't afford the $2 a month, they can simply take a slower speed. But if you
Well, what
want,
if you already have the slower speed? You can't get less
you
than
can't get
that.
less than the slower speed. It's going to be $2 a month.
I think the important thing about that and when that is presented is I have the slowest speed, which is fine and I mean, I watch Netflix, I watch Amazon Prime, I play bridge, I'm doing all this stuff and it works. Well, it works but the thing is that I've been paying, I think, $23 forever. I mean, so that's an important thing, Siobhan, so do you, when it's out there, because it hasn't gone up. So we should look at when that is announced or whatever, we gotta do the history of, that $23 has been $23. I mean, I think for 6, 8, I mean, long time. So I think that's important for people to know too, along with all the other
Where did
TA
that leave
information.
off in the meeting? Are they researching it, or did you approve something for the
Where
board? or-
where that is,
He's
Chuck,
going to,
go ahead,
he's going to
Andy.
submit a formal proposal at the next meeting.
Next committee meeting.
Next committee meeting.
And
So
then,
That'll be
in his
September.
proposal, he should be talking about what the rate history is, because that would be a key selling point also, because it's not like it went up $2 last year and $2 the year before and $2 the year before, because it hasn't.
the reason for extending the contract to West Coast Internet is that they are willing to foot the bill to pay for all the hardware needed to upgrade our system. And that's going to be a $350,000 investment on their part. So we thought that was a pretty good business deal.
What is $2 times 12,000 units times 12 months? Because that's how we're paying for it. I'm
So that's
curious.
144, and it's not really 12,000 units, there's probably some that
9,000.
don't have.
10,000 right
It's
now.
actually,
10,000.
yeah, it's close to 10.
Yeah, close to 10.
So if you have $144, because that's 12 times 12, no, did we say 2 times 12? Okay, that's 24 times 10,000.
Per month?
It's in a few $1 million.
No, that's a year,
So it's basically their 10-year financing, so to speak.
right? Because
Okay.
there's 3 zeros.
So
that
actually, we have
350,000 isn't much.
9,920 subscribers.
Right, all right, so they're gonna make it back in,
Yeah, we're going to make some money on this.
not in 3 years. Right, so,
It's,
okay,
it's
so,
not
all
a
right.
great deal.
All right,
for the
so,
residents.
all right, so next item is,
Andy's not finished.
oh, Annie, you're not finished, go ahead, I'm
No,
sorry.
No, marketing also reported that they have, and what's up with the village and with their weekly blast, they've switched to a new improved design actually in July. And the feedback has been very good. Articles are individually posted on the village website rather than people having to download a PDF file. So they reported on all of the improvements that they're making in terms of the website and the e-blast. And so communication, feedback has been really good on that. The monthly recreation e-blast also switched to a new design where residents can choose to only click on the articles that interest them versus having to download a whole page full of articles. So they can click on the one that's that is of interest to them, and they don't have to download a whole PDF file. And also, the larger type makes it easier for readers to read articles. Those are just some of the added capabilities of the new.
Excellent, thank you. Any report on the, no, mobility and vehicles had no meeting no, they did have a meeting. So who's gonna report? All right,
I can do that. The meeting was more informational than anything. There's apparently some complications with I'm talking about the bus service now. Let's make sure we're focused on the big issue there, that they've hired consultants to do the analysis of improved bus routes. And their analysis had some concerns that they're digging into, trying to solve. But I was going to hopefully turn this to Siobhan for a second, because I feel like this has kind of expanded what we talked about in the Shared Cost Committee meeting. I think, well, I mean, in other words, I feel like they're trying to come back with recommendations on how to improve transportation in general. And I don't know if you have any further thoughts you could share yet, or because you were going to put a staff.
Well, there's a consultant study that's ongoing, and then staff will look at the cost analysis to go along with it. It's kind of a two-pronged approach.
Right, so in conclusion, I think they reinforced how vital, they had a number of people show up with incredible needs for this service, and how to figure out how to get it available at the times they need it. And now I think it's broadening in its scope to try to find a solution that not only offers the bus service, but other transportation options that might work out.
Thank you. Okay, next is Security and Community Access, Director Parsons, no
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, no meeting last month. Next meeting is August 26th, 1:30 PM in the boardroom.
Okay. Disaster Preparedness,
If I can make a comment on that.
No. I'm just trying to move along.
On disaster preparedness, one thing that has come up from the secretary of that is that there's a feeling that the real important things from this task force are not coming forward. So in the future, they would like to just slip in a recap sheet into our board package for awareness.
Okay, well, we'll just make sure that we get that they get it to Cheryl and what time they have to get it to her by, so she doesn't have to look for it. Okay. A report of the Laguna Woods traffic hearings? No meeting, well, yes. So Director Frankel, Annie, can you report on that? or you
That
weren't
meeting
there?
is tomorrow. We did meet last month. Mainly, the hearings were moving violations and speeding violations. Most of the people came in to present their case. They were guilty. They admitted their guilt, and they were charged a fine. And
Okay. All right, so,
Go ahead, I'll say this.
no, so I was going to say that we're, on future agenda items, do we still want parking report on the future agenda item? Okay, and I don't think there's a census report. Isn't that census taking?
Well, it's the whole process.
So we're going to say,
Everything's coming
so
down
how
the
about census process instead of report? Because it looks like we're trying to find out how many people live here. So the census process.
We're
if
going to
we-
talk about that in the resident policy.
Right, but we'll just keep it on here
Yeah,
in future items
that's
that way too, so we don't forget. All right, at this point, we would go to director comments. So I'm going to start on my left-hand side here, this here. Shivani, you have anything? No. Annie?
no.
Reza? No. John? Okay, your
So,
turn's up.
yeah, for anyone still watching, I just want to put that math out there again because I feel cable internet are such, broad use in our community. And if we're talking about $2 per unit per month, that's $24 times 10,000 units. My math says that's $240,000, not $24,000.
No, they said 240,000.
Right, but I'm saying they would recoup $240,000
Right.
the very first year.
So the fact that they're investing 350,000 is not,
Right, and so.
not like, so let's not make that too big a deal.
Well, don't forget, half of it goes to us, the other half goes to them.
All right.
You didn't figure that into your formula.
We can talk about it later. I just wanted to say that, this is a
So
big issue.
in
We
that-
want to stay in front of it for sure.
But in that way, that's $120,000 a year. That's their half times 3 is 360, so they've made 10,000,
Wow.
give or take.
They're in
All right.
business.
We're looking for improvements in cable and internet,
Right.
not break-evens.
Right. So, okay, Steve, anything?
Yeah, just to bring up to the awareness of people, we still have a lot of people that are speeding in the village. Chief Moy and his folks are putting a lot of emphasis on this. Also, people are coasting through stop signs, some people not even slowing down to go through stop signs. And if you're like me at night, I've had people step off the curb that I couldn't even see because they aren't wearing anything of reflective nature. So awareness for everybody, please slow down and stop at stop signs.
Thank you. And wear something bright at night.
Yes, absolutely.
I always walk my white dog, so somebody sees the dog, but they don't see me.
You'll see my gray hair.
Okay, see your gray hair. All right. Roy, any comments? Lynn? Kush? Mr.
LED lights, Steve.
All right.
It will be bright.
I almost could have said Director Parker. That would really send him over the top. Jeff?
Last month, too.
Yeah. Cheryl? Okay. At this time, this meeting will recess for lunch and reconvene to executive session. Annie?